topics. We have with us Tapas School and Preethi Vickram to give us an update about how the school is coming along and what they are doing at the school. Welcome, Preethi.
Happy to be here, Sandhya.
Thank you. We have this on going live on Bangalore Schools, the group, and this will also be going up on EdDeeD, our search and discovery platform, right? So let's start with some basic details to understand before I go into the main part that I would like to hear more about and what Tapas does. Okay, so first, location of the campus.
Presently, we have an early years campus at Vajrahalli, which is just off Kanakpura Road. And our main campus is at BM Kaval, which is just off Kanakpura Road again, but a little further ahead, closer to the Art of Living ashram.
Okay, nice. Okay, so has the both the campuses started? Are there students?
Yes, we have students at our early years campus, and our elementary campus, which is the one at BM Kaval, will be starting from the next academic year. It's presently under construction, which is a very exciting time for us.
Yes, I've seen the videos of it. So maybe you can throw some light upon where it is and what you'll plan to do. And next academic year, it would be starting 2024 to 25. Yeah, great. Wonderful. Can you just give us an...
Would love that. So when we thought of what the campus should look like, we first started brainstorming amongst ourselves, and we said, as a child, I would have loved that in my school, and I would have loved this in my school. Then we said, why are we thinking like children when we can ask them directly? So we went ahead and we did an initiative called Jaga, which was a place for students across India to express how they would like to see their school campus. We had a panel of experts who looked at their ideas. So we had 225 students from Varanasi and Kochi and different parts of India who participated, right? And they gave their thoughts, their insights, their feelings towards how their school campus should be. We took all that, and our panel of experts said, yeah, this makes sense because, this caters to mental health and this caters to physical health and etc., etc. We took all those insights and then we came up with our design criteria based on those insights. And our architect took these. You'd be surprised, 85% of respondents, actually not surprised because it's something so logical. 85% of respondents, the students, they wanted something to do more with nature. They wanted the campus to be able to provide a lot more natural light, air, the feeling of being in nature. And that's exactly what you will see reflected in the Tapas campus also. So just a few things that will stand out when you come and visit the Tapas campus. One is every classroom has a bit of an indoor and a bit of an outdoor. So 30% of every classroom is outdoors, which means that students can sit outside and continue to do their work. And every classroom is also pretty large. For about 25 students, we have 750 square feet. So it's 50% larger than a typical classroom, the size that you would see. So there will be space for making stuff, breaking stuff, and doing things hands-on. Every aspect of our, whether it's our library space or other collaborative learning spaces, we've kept this indoor-outdoor concept going throughout. So everywhere the child is feeling connected to nature. We have a beautiful open air amphitheater which can seat about 250 people. So it gives children a chance to perform, can take center stage and really light up their confidence. Around this amphitheater is our circular block of all the collaborative learning spaces. We have a fully equipped maker space. We have an art village. We have a two-floor library, my favorite part of the school, because this two-floor library has trees right in the middle of it.
Wow.
And so we are going to have children sit under the trees to read.
Wow.
And of course, the sports facilities. We have basketball, football, cricket nets. We have the skating rink. So a lot going
Yeah,
on.
I was going to come to that next to ask you what are the activities that are offered at Tapas, because I've actually seen, I mean, I've been to the early learning center, so I've seen how the space just is more fluid and they're moving around and doing things and not just actually just sitting in a place and learning. They're doing, they're making, and the many aspects of each topic, that
Right.
takes on. So you definitely would need the spaces. And I'm assuming that even the activities that you just spoke about, those spaces also would go into the learning program rather than just be the sport area alone. And because
Absolutely.
I see that, I saw that happening at the other space that I have visited already, and I'm really looking forward to visiting the main campus at Tapas. uh, okay, another question that keeps coming up all the time: the languages on offer at Tapas.
Presently, we are offering Kannada, Hindi apart from English. In the higher grades, that is from secondary classes, we will be offering two international languages
Okay, as well, along with the Hindi and the
along with Hindi and
Kannada.
Kannada.
Okay. Great. Wonderful. So now the main part that I think a lot of parents would want to know about, and I, like I said, found it very interesting on how you have your learning program developed. So is it different for the pre-primary and obviously the primary and the secondary that you have planned it out? Or can you give us a gist of how the program is? The pedagogy is much more important. I feel that, even the infrastructure, how you use the space is very important. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
So again, when we looked at why there should be another school and what are we going to be doing at this school, we realized that in today's day and age that information is available to anybody. So that's really not what we want to be focusing on. It's the values, it's the skills, the capabilities that they're going to go out into the world. So our research kind of showed that we felt that project-based learning would cater to these needs more than any other way, right? So from the early years onwards itself, we have project-based learning where students embark on uh, looking at a problem statement and figuring out the solution. And through this process of problem to solution, all the knowledge inputs happen. They are doing their research, they are getting their information about how to solve that problem. They are learning design thinking, they're empathizing with the user, etc. So all these elements are put together and they come up with a solution, make the presentation of the solution. So there are multiple drafts that they go through. They put up draft one, they take feedback, do draft two, and do their feedback, all of this. So this continues right from early years up to secondary. So we have up to fifth grade this year, and each year we will continue increasing the grades, and we eventually will have up to 12th grade. So this is the idea. Now, right from pre-nursery and up to fifth grade now, all our learners are doing project-based learning. So, especially in the early years, we are doing literacy and numeracy through Montessori because having that hands-on
Hands
equivalent,
on.
there is absolutely nothing that can substitute that
Absolutely.
kind of learning. So we use Montessori for literacy and numeracy development in the early years, and as they progress into elementary, we have just replaced that with other manipulators for math, for instance. And math right now is completely gamified. And at Tapas, when you come in, you will see students are learning multiplication and division, playing Dungeons and Dragons. So as of now, this is what they're engrossed with.
Mm,
They're putting up a Christmas party for themselves. They're planning that, and they're learning all about math through planning for a Christmas party. So,
mm.
project-based learning is how we are learning at Tapas. This is transdisciplinary. I don't think any of our learners know the difference between science and
That's
math
it.
and language because for them it's all just okay. I'm solving a problem. So this is how we are learning at
Which
Tapas.
is how the real world works. But yes, parents do tend to look more. I don't see that so much in the younger years, but I think, upper primary parents are like, do they know their maths? Do they have this grammar in place? I see that it is being done. It probably will be. Being a homeschooling parent, I've done it myself, so I do know that. However, parents will look at the tangible parts
Absolutely.
of learning. So, how or do you have assessments and exams, or how do you go about that part?
So, coming back to your point of how your core skills of numeracy and literacy is continued throughout, our day is divided into 40% dedicated towards core skills and 60% towards project-based learning.
Mm,
So, though we are doing math as part of the project, math as core skill is also being developed
mm,
separately. And that's where the gamification comes. Math has to progress in a particular
Correct.
manner.
Correct.
So, and similarly, literacy,
Mm,
which becomes a foundation for any other learning, right?
mm.
So that continues as 40% of our day. So
Got
even
it.
Hindi, Kannada, all that comes in our 40% of the day. The remaining 60% is where project-based learning is happening.
Got
Now,
it. So just for the parents' understanding of this part, as educators, we do throughout these terms and might just to put it in perspective for the parent. You are covering the concepts that are required for the literacy, numeracy, all of that, but the activities to cater to that are innovative or gamified, as you said.
yes,
Okay.
yes, you're
So that's
right.
being covered.
Yes. So, for instance, something as dry as your formal writing, a
Mm,
topic
mm,
formal writing. We
mm,
introduced it through children having to write letters to their parents or anybody else and giving gratitude. And things like we had a 30-day writing challenge for our elementary, first, second, third graders. And we looked at how their thinking was. So, improving creative writing. So, all of it is covered
mm,
definitely as per what the board requires,
mm.
but it's covered in a manner that it seems like fun to the child.
Wonderful. I get that. I get that. Okay. So
About assessments. Should
yes.
I cover about
Yes,
assessments?
please. Yes, please.
Yes. So we do formative assessments throughout the year. That means the teacher is constantly observing the students. At the beginning of the year, while we are doing lesson planning itself, the teacher knows where she's inserting those assessments. She knows that during this lesson, I'm going to
This
understand.
is observe. Yeah.
So the attitude towards assessments and tapas is that this has to inform our practice. We use this to know how I'll plan my next lesson better. So I'll know whether this child requires more help or this child is doing really great, so needs to be
Be
challenged.
more challenged. Yes.
Exactly.
Okay. I
So
will just take a moment again to clarify this to the audience who will be watching this, that this is exactly what is meant by formative assessment, unlike what we see in schools today, where the unit test is what is just renamed to be the formative assessment. This is what is intended by all the boards or the NCRT curriculum. Per se, formative assessment is used by the teacher to understand whether he or she needs to tweak the lesson plan for the next class. Is the concept understood? How do we work on it a lot more? And as Preeti just said, some children do need more challenges because they've already covered it. So this is what is formative assessment, and seems like Tapas is doing the right thing. Yes, please. Sorry.
yes, and it's in line with the national education policy. If you see how the holistic progress card has been brought up in the NCF,
It's
the
here.
National Curricular Framework, we are following the holistic progress card already. In
Mm,
fact, children are doing self-assessment most of the
mm,
time. We have children also marking how they have performed on certain things, especially when it comes to projects, right? So they
mm,
are assessing themselves on how did I do as part of this project.
mm,
They use things like a scrum board, which today in a
mm,
corporate world people are using when they're
mm,
maybe 30, 40 years old. Our
mm,
learners at the age of 5, 6 years old are using a scrum board. So
mm.
they are constantly assessed, but it's not with pressure. There are assessments that we do, which is baseline, midline, and end of the year. So we are able to track their core skills. So we track, say, how's the reading, how the reading comprehension is with regards to the grade level. Is it on par? Is it above par? Or does the child require any additional support? This is done 3 times in a year. So it's very clear for us to understand. The baseline is done so we understand where the child has to be placed. The midline is done to see how far we've come, and then the end of the year is done so that we understand how well the child has performed. So this becomes very easy for a parent to grasp how the development has been throughout the year.
Mm,
At the end of the each term, that is term 1 and term 2, there are two major child-led events that they put up.
mm,
Right? And both these events are a way for making learning visible. So apart from the portfolios that we maintain of each child in terms of their learning progression, the Summit of the Minds is done at the mid of the year, which is around November, December. And then we have the Varshikotsava at the end of the year. Students put up these events to make their learning visible. So some of them will make their learning visible through a board game. They'll create a board game. Some of them come up with presentations. Some of them will sing a song. So in different formats, they are revising the information as well as making it visible that I know this. So this is another way of
Showcasing the concepts that they have learned
right.
through, yeah,
So this is
in the
another
form of an exhibition.
exactly.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
okay, okay.
So the multiple ways of assessing children and
Mm.
it's made visible to the parent. Also, all our lessons start with a learning objective as defined by what the board has given. So we take that learning objective, we translate that into an actionable point, and that becomes the objective for the lesson. So, at the end of the lesson, the student is assessed on that objective.
On those, yeah, on those objectives, yeah, got it, got it. Okay, so I understand in general different kinds of learners would be catered to, but yes, there are still some outliers. How does Tapas inclusive enough for those kind of learners?
Yes, we are an
Yes.
inclusive space and
Okay,
we do have a combination of neurodiverse, neurotypical children,
right.
and even gifted children. We have some extremely gifted children.
Mm.
In fact, I think we have more outliers than the middle of the bell curve sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's such a joy because we're learning from them how to be more empathetic. Uh, all learners are
Mm.
showing tolerance, they're showing how to get along with each other.
Mm.
So I think we are an inclusive setup and we will continue to be so.
A lot of acceptance in such spaces when it is the norm rather than keeping them as different groups. It's just that you're an individual, I'm an individual, and being able to accept that much more easily than how we usually just talk about it, right? And then it's a concept that you're trying to learn versus being a natural part or an extension of life itself. So that's wonderful. Now to
Because
Kate, sorry, go ahead.
so because of the kind of school that we are, there's a lot of focus on mental health.
Hmm.
Because we need to ensure that there's no bullying that's happening. The
Yeah.
children who need extra help are getting it.
Hmm.
So we do have counselors coming twice a week. Parents have
Hmm.
access to counselors. So my child is having exhibiting this behavior. How do I deal? And this is not just for neurodiverse. I'm saying even
Hmm.
for neurotypical children,
Typical.
this
Hmm.
is we want to have our facilitators also have access to the counselor. So only if we are happy, learners are happy in the
Hmm.
classroom.
So it's more like a community as I see it, where parents are also having access to everybody who's connected to the child,
Yes.
right? And they can get support. It's more like what from what I hear from you, that you'll work together. The adults in the system are working together along with the child, not for the child, along with
Absolutely.
the child, and learning to support each other as well. I'm sure there would
We
be a
call
lot of education for parents too, right? In this.
Yeah, we call it the Tapas tribe.
Ah,
The Tapas families, they when they come and join in. So one of the events every year has to be parent led because
mm,
children are putting up events. We are putting up events, so parents have to do that so that they also
mm,
get a feeling of
mm.
the
But
belongingness in the school.
yes,
So
yes.
parents, we meet almost every 2 months once. We have something called as the Poshak Sabha. The families come together and we talk about what has been covered so far in the projects and what they can expect in the next project coming up, so that it gives the parents some talking points, like instead of asking a child after coming home, so what did you do today or what did you learn today, it's good to have talking points back home. So we conduct these Poshak Sabha, so we're constantly in touch with each other.
Also, everybody gets to know each other, your child's friend, and you know what they're thinking. You never know. They might connect as families and then take it forward from there, which makes the learning much more beyond just the school,
Yes.
campus. Okay. So to implement all of this, the main role actually is that of the facilitators in the system. So can you tell us about the facilitators at Tapas, what are the skills or the talent that they bring into the table? Because this is, of course, you're not looking at knowledge gaining, so it's not a typical
That's
teacher, to kind of observe this, be able to work with the system that Tapas is building.
Mhm.
You need facilitators or mentors. So, yeah.
Yes. And I think that's that's the challenge of being in this space because
Mm,
none of us have learned that way. Uh,
mm,
we've all grown up in a very conventional system, right? Most
mm,
people who join us have grown up in a conventional education system. And so that's the challenge. First thing is we have to work on ourselves. So all our professional development starts with inner work. We
mm,
work on our mindsets, our biases. We figure out what is holding us back from allowing it to be a child-led classroom. So once we work on that, then we go into what project-based learning looks like and the theories behind it. And so I'd say even learning for us is from within. So it's always start from known to unknown.
mm,
Professional development is quite critical, and so we spend a lot of time looking at, especially the month of May goes into having external trainers coming in. We ourselves are doing our lesson planning, discussing, having sessions ourselves. Throughout the year, we have literature review. We have something called as WOW Wednesdays, where we are working on each other's
mm,
social and emotional development. There are many times you will come in when this kind of a social, circle time is happening with us, the facilitator team. We would have even broken down and cried. And so we express ourselves thoroughly and
mm,
work on ourselves.
mm,
And then we are equipping ourselves with the requirements for being in a child-led space. So
mm.
we have teaching strategies. We look at how storytelling can be a tool. We look at how to ask the right questions, make sure that the students have that kind of provocations. How can we reach out to multiple resources? All of these gets covered throughout the year. We have training that goes on. Plus, we visit schools.
Mm.
Our aim is in the next, as part of our first 5-year plan, we want to visit 100 schools which are following alternative education. So this is what our aim personally is.
Mm.
And we've reached about 25% of that goal so far, and we
Mm.
are going to continue this journey.
Okay, great, great. All the best to that. And I definitely would like to catch up with you and know more also. I mean, I always enjoy having this chat with you. On the same note about the faculty, uh, I'm sure that you are looking for more with the new campus.
Yes,
Is there anything in particular, qualification wise or skill set wise, that you're looking? Because this would be going up on Bangalore schools for sure. And I'm sure there would be people looking out for that and can reach out to you. So if you can give us an idea on what exactly you are looking for, maybe they can,
right.
connect with you.
So we don't need trained teachers. We don't need
Mm,
anybody who's completed B.Ed or M.Ed or
mm,
any of them trained, because once you join us, we will ensure that you get trained along the way. It's in fact, it might be a bit of unlearning and relearning if there is some training that you've gone through. We
mm,
are looking at, of course, good communication skills. More importantly, the attitude is what we are looking for, that you're
mm,
open for this kind of open-ended learning. So we are looking for people in South Bangalore. We don't want anybody traveling too much to get to us. And if there is a possibility of a longer commitment is when we would like to take on the person, especially because our facilitators move along with the learners, just like how you would see in a Montessori classroom. They move along the years with our learners. So in fact, their expertise is not the subject matter, but their expertise is the child. So
mm.
they know the children so well that learning becomes a pleasure for both of them. So there is no particular qualification as such that we look for.
Mm.
Um, but we do have a very rigorous selection process. There are about 7 rounds that the person has to go through, because we'd like to really understand how the attitude of the person is and also the alignment with our vision to see if they're really aligned. And so if you're applying, be prepared for a rigorous application process. That's all I can say.
So that's really helpful because I've actually seen quite a few people, men and women, who are moving from other industries
Right.
because they're passionate about this. They've probably done things like this informally with their own children or children in their community, and really are looking for spaces such as this to reach out. So
Yeah.
that was one of the reasons why I asked this, because I know there are many in the group who would be looking. I have conversations with many parents and people otherwise who joined the group. So hopefully, let's
We
see.
we would like to have a mix of experienced teachers as well
Hmm.
as people who are coming from the
Yes.
industry, like you
The
mentioned.
senior classes, at least, that would be more important, where any board exam would come up, right? So there, of course, the curriculum is also important.
Yes,
Subject expertise is important, but yes, I understand regarding the mindset. There are qualified people as well who
yes,
probably are in a different field. They might not be qualified with a B.Ed.
correct.
However, they would be highly qualified in the field that they are in, and a B.Ed wouldn't be too difficult to get if that's a requirement, and
Exactly.
they fit into the system of Tapas.
Yes, perfectly summed up, Sandhya. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much, Preethi, because this has been really very helpful to understand how Tapas works. And I'm sure many parents, prospective parents, also would have got an idea about this. We would be also putting this up on EdDeeD along with your profile there. And parents who have more queries or any extra queries can either ask on EdDeeD or even in the Facebook group for now, while this comes up there. Thank you. And I'm looking forward to visiting Tapas hopefully in the next few months or by 24 when it starts, the new campus.
We will
So,
definitely invite you over and you should come.
uh,
What I'd like to end with is by saying, talking a little bit about the process of joining Tapas, if
sure.
parents are interested. We have open houses that keep happening once a month. In fact, the next one's happening tomorrow. So if anybody is watching this and is interested to come in, they can drop in at 10 a.m. tomorrow at the Tapas Vajirali campus. Post that, once the initial interaction is done and we are comfortable and the parent is comfortable, we share something called as the thought alignment form. It's a small case study. The parents will have to go through it, answer a few questions. So we understand again if there is an alignment between the parent and us. Post us reading those answers, there is another interaction with the founder, one of the founders. The parents will meet. Once we are both comfortable going forward, only then the application form is shared with the parents. So this process takes a few weeks. So if you're interested, please do reach out to us at the earliest.
And be prepared for a few weeks of visiting tapas or all these activities that are part of the process. But I think many parents who would want something like this are eager to learn also and
Yeah.
share what they think and be, to understand where the fitment is, which
Yeah.
is wonderful. Okay. And for the audience, more details about EdDeeD would be, sorry, about Tapas would be there on the EdDeeD platform. You can check out Tapas there as well. And have a good evening, everybody. And thank you so much, Preethi, for
Thank you,
taking
Sandhya.
out the time. And like I said, looking forward and hope to see you at Tapas.
See you soon. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.